welcome back to the channel. I am on my way to deliver some beans to Mom's Cafe, and then I'm going to be heading up to Cordon, which is, from us, it's about an hour, maybe just a little over an hour away, to pick up peaches for tomorrow at the produce stand. And I thought I'd take y'all along with me, less to see the trip and journey and all that, because I mean there's really not much to it. It's a long drive, and then I load up some peaches, and then it's a long drive back home. But I figured I'd use this time to have a real talk with Mama Bear moment. And you know, I've only done one of these way back, close to the beginning of the channel, and Papa Bear actually mentioned yesterday that it might be a good idea for me to do this one with everything that's been on my mind this week. And it's been a crazy week, crazy busy. July's our busiest month of the year, and we've added more onto it this year because we've been helping out with Vacation Bible School, which has been a blast. It's been a blast. We've been taking rabbits in, and we've been shopkeepers in ancient Babylon. And it's been really fun seeing the kids interact with the bunnies and get all excited about them and everything. But yesterday was a bad day for Mama Bear, mentally. I was overwhelmed and overstimulated by absolutely everything. I mean, it was from the moment I woke up. I don't know if it's just because I didn't sleep great, because I didn't. I've been back in the habit of taking sleeping pills at night to help me sleep. Well, I sleep great when I take them. I feel very rested, but the problem is that my tolerance grows extremely fast for stuff like that. And I was taking more and more just to be able to fall asleep and have like a normal night's sleep. And that's not good for my body. So I decided a couple days ago, you know, I ran out of my bottle, and I decided I wasn't going to buy any more. I'm going to try more of getting back into the habit of getting up at the same time. I can't always go to bed at the same time, unfortunately, but I want to start trying to get up earlier, same time, and start making us breakfast again. I mean, you know, we have these chickens that lay us these delicious eggs, and we do great selling them. And every now and then I will get into the habit where I'm like, okay, I'm going to get up and make us breakfast every day. And I always feel great when I'm doing that. And I don't know, you know, we get busy sometimes, or all it takes really is just a couple of days to get out of that habit, to break the habit. And then the next thing I know, instead of waking up, making some coffee and breakfast, I'm going to the gas station and getting an energy drink and donuts. And I've been having a lot of struggles with my mental health recently. I know I've mentioned it in previous videos that I've struggled with depression and anxiety for years and years, and I've been on and off medication several times. I don't like the way that I feel when I'm on medication. It gets to a certain point where I kind of just stop feeling anything, and I don't like that. And that's usually what has me getting off there. But I know that gut health is incredibly important and relates a lot to mental health, and you know, it's a lot of cause and effect there. And I've been putting just bad things in my body, food wise, and energy drinks, and not drinking a fraction of the amount of water that I need to. And I know that all that is contributing to my issues, my, you know, stress, my anxiety. But so let's talk about yesterday. You know, I woke up and it wasn't like anything catastrophic happened to stress me out. I was just overwhelmed. It's, you know, I don't do well with being so incredibly busy under a time constraint. I don't mind staying busy and whatnot, but when it's like, okay, you have to be here at this time, here at this time, here at this time, which is how this week's been, just because there are time constraints with VBS and the produce stand and everything. But I get flustered and frustrated and overwhelmed really easily when that stuff happens. And yesterday was a bad day. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to hear noises. Yesterday, my ideal time would have been in a pitch black room, cold, with a very comfortable bed, completely silent, to just let my mind not have to think about or focus on anything. And I'm feeling much better today, large part because of Dirk, large part because of God. You know, last night at the end of the day when we finally sat down, and it wasn't a great into the night because we had gotten one of the pigs loaded up but not the other one, and going to bed knowing it was supposed to rain overnight in the morning, which luckily that did not happen. So when we got up and got them loaded, as you saw if you watched the video, you know, it was stressful getting him loaded, getting Red loaded, but we got it done. But anyway, I digress. Dirk prayed over me last night, and it helped ease my mind a lot. And it's not to say that yesterday when I was feeling overwhelmed, I mean, I was praying throughout the day, all day, you know, but it's just one of those where my mind was just ready to shut down and just didn't want to deal with anything. But in terms of the overworked, if you've watched previous videos, or if you know us personally, you know that I quit my full-time job back in 2019, I believe. It might have been the beginning of 2020, but it was due to mental health reasons. It just wasn't a healthy environment at the time for me, and I was declining rapidly mentally. And I had the discussion with Dirk one night, and he told me, he said, you know, if it's causing you that many problems mentally, you know, you can find another job. And it just so happened to be that night, because I worked night shift, I went in and I ended up having a panic attack for no good reason. Like, nothing happened, but I called him. I said, can I come home? He said, well, yeah. And I left my keys and I walked out, and it was supposed to only be for a couple months, just to kind of get my head right. I did get back on medication at that time, but we ended up deciding to make a go of the store. And that was actually the beginning of the store. At that point in time, we hadn't had any of the gardens, none of the homesteading. We didn't have chickens at the time, because at the time he still worked at Rose Acres, and you can't have chickens when you work with that company. But it was what needed to happen, me leaving the workplace, and it just started spiraling from there at home. You know, I mean, the store started to take off, and then the bean mill that he works at was bought by another company, not Rose Acres anymore, so we were able to get chickens. I mean, pretty much as soon as he found out that the company was being sold to someone else, as soon as that happened, we were at Dinky's auction house getting chickens that night. But started with 6, and definitely was the gateway into homesteading. And on our wedding night, Dirk built his first raised bed in our grocery store, and it just took off from there. And now it's to the point where I'm so busy at home between all the gardens and all the animals in the store, and I have my eBay store, that I don't think I would have time for a part-time job if I wanted one. But that being said, I know there's a big difference between working from home and having to go drive to a 9 to 5 or a 12 to 12 like Dirk does. But my issues are that, and I'm sure anybody else that works from home or has a small business from home knows, you can't escape the work that needs to be done. at least when you have a job that you're going to every day, when you leave that job, hopefully you can leave your work at home or at work, come home and have a completely separate home life. Well, I love being able to stay home and work from home, but there are days where I wake up and I notice, I'm like, okay, I have this that I have to do for eBay, and I have this that I need to do for the animals, and that's junky looking over there, or this project needs to be worked on. And I don't get a separation from that. And I get really hard and really, hard on myself when I feel like I can't get everything accomplished that I want to. Because in my mind, I equate the fact that I'm home almost 24/7 to that I need to be getting a lot more done than I'm getting done. And that's unrealistic. Just because I'm there the majority of the time doesn't mean I'm not doing my best on each and every given day. And the way I operate, I need some downtime. Dirk, God love him, he thrives on chaos. 25 projects at once, last minute stuff is where he excels, and I'm not that way. I have to have my downtime in there too, and I think for me, it's a mental thing. But that's, I feel bad sometimes complaining about being tired or overworked or overwhelmed, because I don't have to leave and go to a job and then come home and do that stuff there too. But again, I see everything every single day of what needs to be done around there, and it starts just piling on my shoulders, and that's something that I just need to work on. I need to not be quite as hard on myself and celebrate the projects that I finish or, get some progress on, versus giving myself a hard time because I only got 4 projects done versus 10, But I'm pulling here into Mom's to deliver the beans. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then I'll be right back with you. All right, successful bean delivery. And now we're going to head over to Corden. And it's starting to cloud up, which is great, because we do need the rain. And that's one thing that would help tremendously, especially tonight, since Dirk works and I've got VBS. By the time I get home, it's about 9:30, obviously starting to get dark, dusk, whatever. And it's harder to see in the gardens. Got to get the headlamp on. I was doing that the other night, and not with the headlamp, but just a big flashlight. And we had this really tall tree next to the house and next to the garden that I think there are probably 300 birds. It wouldn't surprise me that roost in there every night. And I just accidentally shined the light on that tree, and they took off flying. But hopefully that'll be one thing I don't have to get done tonight. So yeah, I know this video is a little bit rambly with my thoughts and everything, but I like to be honest and open with everybody. Sorry, GoPro's getting a little heated. Might overheat here soon. But I like to be open and honest with everybody about the struggles that I go through with, my depression, anxiety. I'm in active recovery. This upcoming February, I will be 6 years sober from alcohol. And that for me is just huge. It'll be 6 years for me and 7 years for Dirk. I think his 7 years in December. And that's something that I love, the fact that we can share together, is just, the fact that we're both alcoholics. We've both had the same issues, the same demons with that. And, we're in this recovery together and can support each other. And it's just a really, really great thing. I guess the whole point of today's video, other than, I guess I'm kind of using this as a little bit of a diary, journal, whatever, to get these thoughts out of my head, and hopefully it helps somebody, you know. With a lot of our videos, you know, I'm upbeat, cheerful, getting stuff done, but the reality is that's sometimes I have to force that. I have to not force the smiles and the upbeatness, you know, but some days it's a lot harder than other days to put that smile on my face and to think positive. And one thing that's helped so much mentally, I mean, this entire last year that we've been with the church and everything, and the more that we're getting involved with the church, I just find myself feeling better a lot faster, having that faith, you know, through Christ, and just knowing that I have the full support of my entire church family as well. It's amazing. I don't have any doubt in my mind that if I needed something, if I needed someone to pray for me or to pray with me or to help in any way, I have no doubt that any member of that church wouldn't hesitate to help. And I'm very blessed to be able to say that. You know, religion was something that I didn't really have growing up. I mean, I went to the occasional church with a friend, but I don't know. Church was never, it's never for me, you know. I can, you know, pray, worship God anywhere. Well, church helps a lot, you know. Yes, you can pray everywhere. You don't have to be in a church to do that. But having that camaraderie of your fellow Christians is it's amazing. It's something that I wish that I had discovered a long time ago. But, you know, God works in mysterious ways, as they say. Like Dirk and I graduated, I was a year behind him in Brownstown, where we had, I think, less than 600 people in the entire school. And he was just a year ahead of me, and I knew of him, but we never interacted in high school. And I moved back up here 15 years after I graduated, roughly, I think. Moved back up here in 2018, and I was going through a not good divorce at the time, and my life had completely been uprooted. But I was glad to be home, glad to be back with my family. And one day I was out hiking with one of my friends, and we were driving home. She was driving and going on the back roads and everything, and there was a tree worker doing some work. So I noticed, you know, a truck stopped at the top of the next hill waiting for us to come up, and it was Dirk. And Starla stopped, and they talked for a couple minutes, and that night Dirk and I started talking online. All right, the camera cut off. It overheated. Unfortunately, I don't have anywhere convenient to have it other than right there on the dash. So I'll hold it here for a couple minutes, and I'm going to wrap it up soon so I'm not as distracted while I'm driving once I get on the highway. But yeah, so we met that day and started talking that night. Within a week, we went on our first date, and I mean, the rest is history. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up pretty quickly because the camera keeps overheating. And I didn't bring an extra battery, and I couldn't change it even if I did because I'm driving. But moral of the story for today is that if you're struggling, whether it be depression, anxiety, alcoholism, anything, it gets better. You know, just stay strong. You're not alone. And just know, if you've been on the fence about trying to find a church family to join, don't put it off any longer. Y'all, this world is getting crazier and crazier at a very fast pace, and it's scary, honestly. I can't imagine growing up in this world, you know, at right now being a child. It's a scary place. But there's comfort in Jesus, and there's peace. And do I still struggle? Every single day. But I know that it's going to be okay, and I know that I'll get through this. You know, I have Dirk as my rock, but I also have my church family as my rock, and Jesus, and my faith, and it's so incredibly comforting. I'm real, and this is real. This is what goes on in my mind. It's not a linear road up in there. But thank you for watching, and I hope this has helped someone in some way. That's all I can hope with any of our videos, really. But until next time, friends, keep on keeping on.